Hello children, welcome to SR Concepts. I am Ravi Verma and in this video I am going to start the topic what is an atom. So in the previous videos we have discussed the laws of chemical combinations, the Dalton's atomic theory and certain in-text questions also. So now let us discuss what is an atom. So dear students, we have already discussed that matter is made up of very tiny particles, very small particles, and we discussed in this chapter that Rishi Kanad told that when we keep on breaking padarth, we will reach one smallest particle that will be called Parmanu or atom, right? So that cannot be further divided. So what is atom? We already have certain idea that the smallest particle of a matter is called atom, and atom is actually building block of matter. So atoms are the building blocks of matter. In the same way, means you know that bricks combining together make up a wall or building. So bricks are the building blocks of the wall. In the same way, atoms combine together to make the matter. So we can say that atoms are the building blocks of the matter. Now we talk about the definition. An atom is the smallest particle of the element that cannot usually exist independently and retain all its chemical properties, means retains all the chemical properties of the element. So let's understand this definition more clearly. First thing, that they are the smallest particle of the element. This is clear to you that when suppose we take an element iron and we keep on breaking it, then the smallest particle that we will reach will be the atom. Now another important feature is written that the atoms cannot usually exist independently. This is important to understand. According to this definition, atom of any element cannot exist. Atom of most of the elements cannot exist independently. What does it show? For example, if we talk about iron, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, chlorine, a number of examples we have taken, right? So if we talk about, suppose we talk about iron, then the iron's atom do not exist independently. Means suppose if we take a iron bar, right? You know that there are many atoms of iron. So here you will see that the atoms are combined together to make up the whole iron bar. So here you see that the atoms of iron are combined together. The atoms are combining together with the same type of atoms. If we talk about hydrogen again, wherever there is hydrogen gas, actually the particles of hydrogen are hydrogen molecules, where two hydrogen atoms are combined together. So if you find hydrogen gas somewhere, right, there you will find no single hydrogen atoms, means no independent hydrogen atoms. You will see that the hydrogen atoms are combined together. In the same way, there is oxygen, again oxygen, nitrogen and chlorine. This is the case with all of these elements, that if we talk about oxygen, then its particle is O2 molecule, that is two oxygen atoms are combined together. So this statement that usually the atoms cannot exist independently means atoms are either combined with the same type of atoms, for example hydrogen atom combined with hydrogen atom, or atoms of an element are usually combined with atoms of another element. For example, atoms of hydrogen combining with atoms of oxygen to make water. So I hope you understand this line. But why the term usually, means the word usually is being shown? Usually means most of the time the atoms cannot exist independently for most of the elements. But there are certain elements in which atoms can exist independently. For example, if we talk about inert elements, inert gases or inert elements, there are certain inert elements known as helium, neon, krypton, xenon, radon. So these are the examples of inert elements in which the atoms exist independently, because these atoms do not combine chemically with any other atom. For example, if we talk about helium, then you will find individual or single helium atoms, because helium atoms will not combine with the same type of atoms or any other types of atoms. Now if we talk about another important thing, that atoms retain all the chemical properties of the element. What does it mean? For example, if we take an iron bar and start breaking down into smaller particles, then finally smallest particle that we will get will be an iron atom. And this iron atom will retain all of the chemical properties of the iron. Now if we break the atom further, then the broken atom will not have all the chemical properties of the element. So atom is such a smallest particle of an element that retains all the chemical properties of that element. I hope you got the point. Another important point is that atom takes part in chemical reaction. So while a chemical reaction is going on, for example, hydrogen is chemically reacting with oxygen to make water. So this is the atoms of hydrogen which will combine with oxygen atoms, means which will take part in a chemical reaction. So hope you got the concept that atoms take part in a chemical reaction. So whenever a chemical reaction is taking place, it is actually the atoms of the elements which are undergoing the chemical reaction. Now how big are the atoms? This is an important point. These twins, they are smaller than anything that we can imagine or compare with. So they are means smallest particles or smallest things on this earth. Millions of the atoms, when stacked together, would make a layer barely as thick as a thin sheet of paper. Generally, the size of size of an atom means atomic radius, which is measured in a unit known as nanometer, and 1 nanometer is actually equal to 1 nanometer is equal to 10 to the power minus 9 meters. So if we break 1 meter length into 10 raised to the power 9 parts, then the small fragment that you will get will be equal to the nanometer. Here certain comparison of different particles with their sizes is given. For example, size of an hydrogen atom is around 10 to the power minus 10 meters, that is equal to 0.1 nanometer. So here you can see certain other particles and their sizes are given. Just read them and memorize them. Now what are the modern day symbols of atoms of different elements? Dear students, this is very important to symbolize the elements. First of all, Dalton tried to symbolize the elements and he given symbols like these as shown in the slide. You can see these symbols are not easy to learn and they cannot be used with ease, right? If we talk about Vergilius, he was the Vergilius for the first time suggested that the symbols of elements may be made up of one or two letters of the name of the elements. Means suppose we want to symbolize or we want to give symbol to carbon, then he suggested that we can take C as the symbol of carbon. So it was Vergilius who suggested that the letters of the name can be taken as symbols. Dear students, first in older days, in the beginning time, the symbol was taken or the name of the element was given on the basis of the name from where first of all that particular element was obtained. For example, if we talk about copper, then it was taken from Cyprus, that's why its name was given copper. Names of certain elements have also been given on the basis of their color. For example, if we talk about gold, then the gold is an English word which means yellow. So you know that the gold has yellow color and gold means yellow color, so that's why this gold name has been given. Nowadays IUPAC, that is an International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, this is an international scientific organization which approves the names of elements, symbols and units, right? Now many of the symbols are the first one or two letters of the element's name in English. So if we talk about symbol of hydrogen, then this is simply the first letter of the name of the element, that is hydrogen. And if we talk about aluminium, you know that the name of aluminium in English is aluminium. So we have taken the first letter A and the second letter L. So for most of the elements, the symbols have been taken from the first and the second letter. Always remember that the symbol should be like, the first letter should be written in capital and the second letter should be written in lowercase. So the correct symbol of aluminum is AL and not A capital and L capital. In the same way, we talk about cobalt, then CO is the correct symbol and not the C capital O capital. Alright. Now, dear students, for some elements, the symbols are formed from the first letter of the name and a letter appearing later in the name. For example, if we talk about chlorine, then Cl. Look here, the spelling of chlorine is CHLORINE and the symbol is Cl, right? Cl. So in the same way, if we talk about zinc, then the symbol is Zn. Alright. Look at, there is another way in which symbols have been given. What is written? Symbols have been taken from names of elements in Latin, German and Greek languages also. So for example, if we talk about Fe, right, iron, then the name of iron is iron, but the symbol has not been taken from this name, the English name. So symbol has not been taken from the English name, but the Latin name of iron is ferrum. Latin name of iron is ferrum. So the symbol has been taken from this Latin name and the symbol becomes Fe. In the same way, if we talk about the symbol of sodium, then the English name is sodium and the name, that is Latin name, is natrium. So the symbol is Na. In the same way, for potassium, the symbol is K from kalium. Dear students, this table is taken from your NCERT textbook. Please memorize this table, right? And you just keep using these elements and these symbols and they will be automatically memorized. So don't try to memorize them in one go, just gradually keep using them and you will be used to, or you will be familiar with these symbols. So dear students, this was all for today's video. In the next video we will discuss about the atomic mass topic. So the video has already been so long, so we will be discussing this atomic mass topic in the next video. Thank you for watching this video and please like the video, subscribe to the channel and share to your known ones. Thank you.